We're live. Uh, Good night, Belizeans at home and abroad. My name is Leonard Brackett. I'm one of the panelists on this particular platform. We also have Mr. Roody on the platform with us tonight, who is also one of our senior panelists and major contributor. And we expect to have our host for the night, who is the chairman for tonight, Monday nights as usual. Maybe somewhere in the background, probably trying to load something else. So we'll just proceed with the show, temporarily hoping that he may show up and then have his topic of choice. But in the meantime, we got to keep the show running, and so we'll just proceed as we normally do. I will go ahead and offer a short word up here, which I'll then turn it over to Mr. Wade for him to do us the grace of giving us a short reading from the scripture. After which, if Mr. Chairman doesn't show up, we'll just banter around and comment at large on some of the festivities going on in Belize and others. So let's do it. I'll just bow my head if you allow me for a minute or so and say a short prayer. Divine, loving Father, thou who art our Creator and the Creator of heaven and earth and all that in them are, into thy hands we commend ourselves on this particular program, Lord, that thou would bless us, that we may be able to find enlightening words and probably some wisdom to transmit to our Belizean folks at home and abroad, and hoping that at the end of our program tonight, we may have provided some beneficial effort that accrues to the well-being of our country and people of Belize. We thank you, loving Father, for the privilege to come before thy presence once more. We pray that thou mayest bless our family members, friends, and loved ones, wherever they are. Thou knowest them by name and number. Please continue to be merciful unto all of them. We pray that thou mayest also have mercy upon those people who are in need of food and clothes and shelter, and who are in areas where there is strife, or where there is earthquake, or tornadoes, or whatever disaster, loving Father, even those including man-made disasters. We pray that thou mayest look out for us and be merciful unto us all, now and always, for us is mercy in Jesus' name. Amen. Back to you, Mr. Wade.
Thank you. Thank you, Leonard, for that
Yes, sir.
warm prayer.
You're welcome,
And
sir.
again, it's always a pleasure to sit in your company. And like
Same
you
here.
say, we are with the
Thanks for the
chairman
privilege.
for tonight, Mr. Gregory Brackett. He's probably somewhere queuing up something in the back, but the show must goes on.
Right on.
So again, thank you and welcome to our 192nd edition of Belizean Affairs. Hope
I
that
feel like
tonight's show
Mr. Wade,
will
I feel like I touched that 200. Are they close to it? Are they reached? But
close
I'm
to the
not sure if I'm
200
valid.
here. So I just hope that tonight's show, Leonard, will serve some good to our viewers and listeners, both at home and abroad. And we usually try to keep them informed of what's, going on in our jewel.
Yes,
And
sir.
on that note, I will do a reading from Proverbs, again, chapter 29, 10 to 20. Says, bloodthirsty man hate one who is blameless, and seek the life of the upright. A fool give full vent to his spirit, but a wise man quickly holds it back. If a ruler listens to falsehood, all his officials will be wicked. The poor man and the oppressor meet together. The Lord gives light to the eyes of both. If a king faithfully judges the poor, his throne will be established forever. The rod and reproof give wisdom, but a child left to himself brings shame to his mother. When the wicked increase transgression increase, but the righteous will look upon their downfall. Discipline your son, and he will give you rest. He will give you delight to your heart. Where there is no prophetic vision, the people cast off restraint. But blessed is he who keep the law. By mere words, a servant is not disciplined, for though he understands, he will not respond. The words that are the he do not. There is more hope for a fool than for him. Wherever whoever pampers his servant from childhood will in the end find him his heir. That's by reading from Proverbs chapter 29, 10 to 21.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wade, for contributing eloquent, and I would dare say maybe a contextual reading for tonight, because I think we want to touch on some of those very same points as we go along when the chairman shows up. But in the meantime, do you have something that you'd like to say to our Belizean people
Yes.
in our celebratory occasion, and maybe in terms of safety as well as being mindful of each other's health and well-being? Back to you, Mr. Wade. I yield back to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
My people, it's always a pleasure to sit here and be able to speak on issues, myself and Leonard, as we speak on issues. Um, we don't speak on nothing that is not happening. We don't speak on nothing that does not germane to our people and nation, right? Because we are about people and nation.
Amen.
Um, as we embarked in our uh, September celebration, I just want the public to be very mindful and celebrate uh, with caution. Celebrate with love, um, and keep the celebratory mode crime free. We have been seeing, you know, in this little Belize of ours, a lot of accidents. So I stress that in this celebratory mode that we are in, please have your beers responsibly. Please drink responsibly, right? Please drive on the highway responsibly, and always remember that it's not only you on the highways. And to all these drivers who does not know the difference between a high beam and a low beam, right? That high beam, blinds people. So
Mm-hmm.
in the night time, I'm talking of experience, and in other part of the world, especially in the US, that high beam
It's a
is a
killer.
ticket you get, right? There are some places you could drive, and the high beam is it's against the law. So here in Belize, you know, driving at night, it's so sad to see some of these all kinds of lights, some that they adopt onto to their vehicle, which is not legal, and it blinds people. But anyway, celebrate responsibly. right? And again, I want to turn it over to the chairman for tonight, Mr. Gregory Brackett. I will not banter much.
Thank you, Mr. Wade. Good night to Belizean people at home and abroad. Welcome to this 192nd edition of Belizean Fair. I want to thank you guys as usual for sitting with me virtually. You are highly appreciated as we try to bring educational purpose and the affairs that are happening in Belize that is detrimental to our country. I want to start by saying happy 10th celebration. Our forefathers who fought a fight for us to be where we are today. And even though we are independent bilateral under the Commonwealth, I am highly upset that our past and present government, with their ludicrous action, who is seeking other means through the OAS and has our country in jeopardy when we, as a country, was protected and is still protected by the Commonwealth, but have past and present government in denial and not telling the Belizean people the truth. Have me to ask the
Mr.
question
Chairman,
tonight.
Mr. Chairman,
Why are we dealing with the OAS
Mr. Chairman, can I
when
still?
we are a
Oh,
Commonwealth country and everything that should be done for Belize should be under the Commonwealth? I go to you, Mr. Brackett.
no, I just wanted to be obnoxious again, as I usually appear to be, when in fact I'm trying to point out something that, based on the statement that you had just mentioned about why they don't teach the Belizean people the correct information about our true stardust. I wanted to add a little comment to that to enhance what you was already obviously stating. And the reason why they don't teach that is because they're trying to recruit us to become sovereign citizens to help facilitate them take over the heads of governance in terms of the head of state position so that we can at some point end up being bamboozled into electing these knuckleheads as our head of state, one of them as our president. I don't know how many of them will kill each other in order to become that first president of the Republic of Belize. But I know trying to get there is going to cause a lot of harm to people, a lot of hurts, and some people may indeed lose their lives. And these guys are playing with treacherous activities and efforts contrary to our best interests, and they're doing so with the support and help of the people. Que viva Belize, que viva Guatemala, que viva Mexico, que viva UDP, que viva PUP, que viva everybody else except que viva Belize. I have a problem with that. I yield back, so thank you for the opportunity to expound. Mr.
I
Chairman?
thank you, Mr.
Oh,
Brackett,
sorry.
for your comment, but it
Welcome,
goes
sir.
beyond that because I want to say to the people at home and abroad, the citizenry of Belize has fought under the blue government with the Webster proposal. We have stand up for what we believe in. We have denounced the Webster proposal. We have seen it time and time again. They are trying to bring it back in different
Mm-hmm.
methods and in different names. Today, the Webster proposal has become conference building measures, still
Got it?
under
Perfect.
the white man, who wants to make Belize a state of Guatemala. for those of you at home and abroad that don't know the history of what is going on with Belize and Guatemala when we are dealing with the OAS. That's
Treachery.
why tonight I am highly upset, and I want to say again, Belize should not be dealing with the OAS when we are independent country under the Commonwealth. Everything that has to do with our protection should be Commonwealth, not the OAS. And we have past and present government in denial who wants to get up there and says, oh, they took their troops out of the country, they will not fight for us. I want to tell you, the Americans will not fight for you because they have interest in Guatemala. I'm telling you straight out, the Guatemalans are trained by the US, their arms are bought from the US, so let's stop playing the game. The only reason they are in here is for what they can get. As usual, every country worldwide know when you deal with them what you are dealing with. So people at home and abroad, we need to stop playing this game. We are celebrating another 10th of September, and it should be a joyous one. But yet, we can't get away from what is happening within our country because we have weak government who does not want to stand up and do what is the right thing for the Belizean people. I will even take it further than that because the past government has violated again the people's constitutional rights when they went and passed laws to stop the people from going to the Sarassoon Bay. We need to call them out and we need to stand up for what is right. I go to the first video.
You have to make your immigration check, please.
Así como usted también. Así como usted también.
I will stop this video here as I said because I'm highly upset with what is going on because we have only one individual who is standing up for belief, and I applaud Mr. Wilmer here who is always out there to make sure that they have an eye and these intruders. But the reason why I'm saying this is because, as I said, we are in denial. We are totally in denial. I want to go to what our Foreign Minister said. After this, I will say something for the record. Then I will go to you guys.
Were discussed. Today, when we asked the foreign minister about it, he said that Belize has already gone through the diplomatic channels to report the incident. While some members of the public may disagree with this method, Fonseca said it's better not to act on emotions.
These are ongoing issues, as you all know. And we, as I said, when these incidents occur, there are two things that happen. One, the government of Belize, through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, registers a very strong diplomatic protest note, which is sent to the government of Guatemala, condemning the actions of the Guatemalan armed forces, as well as, of course, reaffirming Belize's sovereignty and territorial integrity. We as well, of course, report the incident to the Organization of American States. This is a part of an agreement that we have between Belize, Guatemala, and the OAS, that we report these types of incidents. The OAS then acts as a mediator. They carry out a verification exercise to determine exactly what happened, where it happened, and then they issue a report that is sent to both countries. So both of those things have been done. Um, and again, we absolutely, of course, state very, very clearly that we, our sovereignty and territorial integrity over a part of the Sarstoon River, um, we that is absolutely clear. The median line of the Sarstoon River is
Oh,
Now, gentlemen, before I start to go to you, how ludicrous is this? We are going to the ICJ because we are part of the UN. And it is stated in their charter whenever two state members have a border dispute, if they can't solve it peacefully, they must go to the ICJ. But I'm calling this out. The reason why I'm calling this out, because I want the people at home and abroad to know this same government stand up for the people of Palestine against the atrocities of Israel.
We're standing up on
And
behalf of Belize.
and here we find that under the UN speaking about going to the ICJ is this same UN that does not recognize the ruling of the ICJ against Israel. In fact, they threaten some of the judges that sit on the ICJ. And I'm saying this to let the people know. Again, we are going to the ICJ, and because we are a member of the UN, when two border countries have a dispute, if they can't settle it peacefully, they say you must go to the ICJ to settle it. But imagine the country who is saying that, who after World War said that it will never happen again, the atrocities and genocide that took place during World War. And they are the one who is supplying the bombs and ammunition that is causing the death of Palestinian women and children. They are the one who is talking about settling the dispute between Guatemala and Belize at the ICJ, when they themselves does not even recognize the ruling of the ICJ against Israel. Mr. Wade, I go to you.
thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's always a pleasure to sit in your company. Likewise, Leonard, see, these are pressing issues, for patriotic Belizeans who love their country, yeah, who love their country. This should be a very pressing issue. They should be calling their area representative. They should be calling their prime minister, right? And stating their concern. Guys, past government have had no intention of fixing this problem, that this sore, this cancer that we have affecting us by the Guatemalan armed forces. Those of us elders who could remember when the British was here, did we have this kind of situation?
No.
No, we had one situation in 1977 when that was put on the arrest in 15 minutes when the Harriers and the tanks and everything flocked the border. I was part of the security forces at the time, right? So what I am talking about is truth, right? So what happened? They find a way now to be bullying us. Then you hear our leaders say that we need a new identity. Um,
Crazy.
the pressing issues that we are having in this country are not being addressed. Why? Don't our leaders know that, you know, the Guatemalan army is aggressing us? They even tell the Belizean, the territorial volunteer that when you want to go to the Sarasoon, you have to, this was from the UDP days, you have to send to the ministry a letter and then they will tell you whether you can traverse your country. This is your
Unconstitutional.
country, you know. The UDP gun, they could give a hoot, right? What the Guatemalan was doing to us because they took us to the ICJ. They took us to the ICJ. Did we, there was any aggression? There was any urgency that Dean Barrow had us to take us to the ICJ? Hell no, right? He have his reasons why he did that, right? And I hope that one day he would come to the Belizean people and tell the Belizean people why he did that, what he gained from it. The PUP came in power now, and it's like nothing, man. The Guatemalan keep aggressing, and like nothing. The Prime Minister, they over there, back and forth. They have cocktail, they have meetings. You mean, man, you don't have the balls or the guts to tell the Guatemalan president, listen, man, you must stop aggressing us at the Sarstoon, man. You must stop it. But has he done that? Hell no. He's in bed with these people.
The
right?
foreign minister.
You listen to the foreign minister. He don't have a clue what he's talking about. Right? Slowly, I see that, our country, is been, harassed, halampul, and the worst is yet to come if this does not come to a head, right? And it's whatever happens, we will have to blame it on our leaders. We will have to blame it on our leaders because they do not have the guts and the balls to stand up to Guatemala, right? And tell them and read them their rights, man. But what they do, they have some of them in government, right? When our constitution clearly says any person from any country, in this occasion Guatemala, that does not respect the territorial integrity and the sovereignty of Belize, they should not be allowed to in our government. But what they do, the UDP and the PUP, they grapple there and they burn. I'm not saying naturalized Guatemalan. I'm talking about born Guatemalan. Yes, don't get me wrong. They are allowed to vote, yes, but to vote in our election, but to contest the highest seats in governance should be a no. He just had down south the Honduranian, born Honduranian. I'm not talking, I'm talking born. You see the hell of a loo that they had to elect that guy.
$1.25 million.
They denounce ban Belizean down south. Denounce them. No, we don't want to know. We want Mr. Osborne Martinez. And that's
our
a
new
country
identity.
that has us to the ICJ, right? They're claiming, how did we get here? That's another show, right? But my thing is that who is looking out for us, guys? Seems that, like you said, Greg, what's a hell of a Loodies, half Palestinian or birth Palestinian or family orientated to Palestine, when they march. The Musas, the other ones, they march downtown denouncing Israel for the aggression.
Someone
Right?
come away from Cuba.
Yes,
The
the other guy, the two-man guy, come and create a whole hell of a loot here, right? And he said Belizean is no. He shouldn't have said that. He must say the only the Schumann and some of the ministers and the Musa is against that, because how dare him to talk that Belizeans? We not on board with him or them. We have our own mind or our own thinking. So he shouldn't be talking for us. Who the hell he think he is? I don't want him to talk for me. I didn't want Musa to say, well, like, you know what? We are against the Belizeans. No, say the Musas or the Schumans. Right? All I'm saying is that if they jump up quick, guys, and they march against this situation, this catastrophe in Palestine, but they don't have the balls nor the guts to stand up and march in the streets of Belize denouncing the aggression of the Guatemalan army. How dare you? And yet, you all are pillaging on the taxpayers' money, right? You know, the Guatemalans not the pay, Palestine not the pay, Belizean taxpayers are paying, so why can't you stand up, right? Why can't you take a stand, Mr. Leaders, from the Prime Minister all the way down to the minions, right? Take a stand. March with Wilbur here at the, go to the Sirstoon. Take the army, whatever we have as an army, and take a stand. But Mr. Manu, no do that. No, you listen to the I'm just gonna end this. You listen to that man, the Fonseca guy. He's supposed to be our people who they look out for him in terms of that situation in the Sirstoon. He's speechless. He can't even say nothing. What is wrong with these guys? Is this the way they want it to continue? And God forbid, don't forget, we have a ruling yet to come from the ICJ. Has to be a winner and a loser. Okay? So when the Briseno guy come and, oh yeah, we have a ironclad case. What's wrong with that guy? Right? So he already bought out the whole judges then that sits on that panel. So he said we have a ironclad case and we have a winning case. What the hell wrong with that guy? Right? That's to show you the level of don't give a damn, right? About what happened to us in this country, as long as they are living high and mighty and powerful, right? But I'll stop there because, you know, as a farmer, member of the security forces, you know, this kind of action is uncalled for. Uncalled for. In my times, these things didn't happen, and they try to play off this. We got independence, like you said, rightfully says, Mr. Chairman, but we are still under the Commonwealth. So why the hell Briseno cannot pick up the phone and along with the Fonseca guy and call for help and state your claim so that they give us justice? Did Uno do that? We are still under the Commonwealth, okay? For those who think we are not, for Uno leaders, the young leaders, we just pop up on Uno, call on self minister and this and minister that. we are still under the Commonwealth, okay? And that one that is looking for a new identity, I hope that he do not find it. Back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Wade. To people at home and abroad, I want to say this, and in specific, I will specifically say and state, since the past administration violated our constitution in order for us to go to the ICJ to align the constitution with Guatemala, and we agreed to go. There should be no incursion in the Sarassoon River, especially when we have confidence building measures. But I will say this, I want you, the people at home and abroad, to be aware that even if we win, the Guatemalans will not respect it, just as how they are not respecting
The process, no.
the agreement we have to go to the ICJ. And I'm specifically stating this because they have ties to the Americans. And Belize can become another Palestine with the wink of an eye. Backed by the Americans, the Guatemalans can walk in and do what they want to do. Mr. Brackett.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, for such a wonderful program on tonight, the eve of 10th of September, which stuck in these people and craw and they can't swallow, they can't breathe. And as to your last point, let me say this clearly. It has always been those who try to foster the 17th proposal in Belize, their objective to turn Belize into a vassal state and or territory or 23rd district of Guatemala. They have never ceased and desisted their effort. They have just tried in other ways. Every time they get blocked at one stop, they go around and come back, but with the same agenda and with new suborned individuals. I don't know how they did suborn or Belizean people. I know they are suborned because of the way they operate, as if they are captured agents working on behalf of foreign interests and foreign powers, not on behalf of Belizean. And as the foreign minister making a statement that, oh, the process is that you go ahead and make a complaint, you document it, and send it to the OAS. How many times have we not done that? And the aggressiveness continues. Because there's no resolution to that process. As a matter of fact, the Prime Minister has found himself rushing to Guatemala. The first time he got elected, on this go-around when he became Prime Minister, he went to celebrate his victory in Guatemala, not in Belize, where he attained his victory. He went and sit down and drink the liquor them and whatever truth serum they gave him mixed up in the liquor that he probably could not have recognized. And after drinking it, he probably just started bodying up and spilling his guts and presenting himself to accept agreements on our behalf that are put into diplomatic pouches under Secrecy Act, that even the employees of this Foreign Ministry Department cannot expose. But as to the Foreign Minister, he never took that document himself to the OAS and or to the United Nations and or to anywhere else. And since the Prime Minister loves going over to Guatemala so often, as a matter of fact, I'm not even sure if he's back yet from the last Guatemalan trip he took. He might be, or he probably out there hobnobbing with some other, financial individuals who wants to invest in Belize, and he can use all governance power and suborn it and facilitate them. That's all the man seems to be interested in. He could have taken the damn protest note, a copy of it, to the Guatemalan president and present it to her and ask her, what is it that's going on? Why is it that they're still bullying Belizeans on Belizean territory? They never stop at the inside of the territory and harass us. They're going to wait for we start the territory with their guns drawn and with finger on trigger. With them boat, they try crash free local doorways them and try, cause mayhem to us. And then the jackass, idiot ministers in our government, then they turn around and they try to blame for we people for being out there. Our constitution says that even the government has no authority and power over for we Belizean people in terms of transiting our country from one end to the other, whether east, west, north, south. Nor does the government have any authority to determine, as they try to do at the airport, whether or not you as a born Belizean can go out of your country or can come into your country. The Constitution specifically addresses those matters and says the government is prohibited. But they go around and make what you call these substantive laws under the guise that those laws trump the Constitution. What kind of idiots think like that? Only the ones that think that we, the rest of the people in the country, are also a bunch of idiots and should fall for it. If these guys had any goodwill, if the guys had any goodwill towards us Belizeans, I'm talking about so-called leaders, we on this particular show should not have to be whipping their ass and telling them about themselves and having them try to get mad at us for exposing them and letting the public know where they are falling short and falling on their own faces. And then they go to the assembly, go make laws to try to shut us down and talk about we did defame them or we did this or we did that. Do the right thing and you'll have no such complaints, because we will not be out there complaining about what you're doing good. We'll be supporting you for what you're doing good. But we have to complain about what you're doing bad, especially if you spend most of your time the hustle. We country need leaders who are willing to put themselves on the line on behalf of us, the people. We don't need leaders who go genuflect to Guatemala and they play footy game with Guatemala and they tell for we people we shouldn't react with emotion to these things. What the hell is wrong with these guys? That's our foreign minister. He talk just like the other idiot foreign minister from the other party before that says that we don't have no boundary lines. They're all getting paid by us, but they're all working apparently, or it seems like, against us. How them but go over to Guatemala go live if they love Guatemala so much? I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, just a minute. Can I get a minute there, Mr. Chairman?
I need to get something to drink.
Go ahead, sir.
Okay, my people, both at home and abroad. This aggressiveness not just start right now, and it's getting bolder and bolder and bolder. Right after that, Mr. Chairman, that aggressiveness by the army there in the Sarsoon, we had a ship, a Guatemalan warship out there, right? In our waters. Who does that? So what that is telling you, my people, both at home and abroad and the world, a country that does not respect us, a country that does not, want to live as per the laws of this country, do not want to uphold the laws of this country. Look what they're doing. Isn't that aggressiveness? Aggression? Why they do these things? There was a ship right out there. Right in Belizean waters, right? I don't know if they return back. Right? But what that is telling you, I'm afraid for you, I'm not afraid for you. I could traverse anyhow I want. Who does that? What kind of country do things like that? Is that a country of goodwill? Or maybe they say, okay, well then, this is the ship we give Belize, so they have it in our waters. I don't know, right? But that's, in my view, Mr. Chairman, that's aggressiveness to the highest level. To the highest level. Why? They know that we do not have an army to subdue them. We do not have security forces that will match them. So they keep doing that. On what kind of people do things like that? What kind of country, what kind of government do things like that to to a neighboring country? What
Bullies.
is their intention? What is it they want? Why are they doing it? That's a question, right? You know, and the aggressiveness, Mr. Chairman, keep becoming
Escalating.
intolerable,
Yeah.
more and more and more. So you got the ships now. The ship now. You soon see the fighters them. The fighters then the patrol, right? Just like when we had the Harriers back in the 70s, we soon start to have them, the Guatemalan Air Force, right? That's a form of intimidation, Mr. Government, Mr. Leaders of this country. They are intimidating us. Sad, 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 sad to see what's going on in this country, right? No one is looking out for the Belizean people. No one. The people come, they do unto us what they want to do unto us, right? Whatever they want to do, they do. Whatever they want to take, they take. So sad. Back to you, Mr. Chairman. I just
Thank
wanted to
you,
mention
Mr.
that
Wade.
ship that was out there.
Here and Belizean affair, people at home and abroad, we not only tell but we show. There you go, Mr. Wade. And
So
that's
my
the way
people, thank you. Right? So what do you call that? What do you call that? Do you hear anything, Mr. Chairman, that the Fonseca guy mentioned anything about that? I hope he got a letter to the OAS already. I hope so. Letter and evidence and everything. These guys are some bunch of losers. No guts. No balls. Why are they afraid? This is your country. This is Belize. This is your country. You mean you cannot advocate for your country? You cannot speak up for your country, Mr. Man? Mr. Prime Minister? What the hell is wrong with you guys, man? You know, that's why we on this show.
When he is there, he may be too drunk to contemplate dealing with such high state matters. And by the time he gets sober, he's already back to town. So you know have a
guys,
good opportunity to deal with substantive issues in that
Mr.
regard.
Chairman, well said, man. The foreign minister, the Fonseca guy. Oh yeah, he's a very slick guy and smart. Oh yeah, he have way back. He have on those words that he said. Yeah, he have everything under control. Stupid. Back to you, Mr. Chairman, and on the real sense too.
Thank you, Mr. Wade. But I want to say this. I will go to you, Mr. Brackett.
Okay.
We are dealing with a
Oh, are
government.
you ready for me?
I will
I
come
was
to
about
you
to
right
do
now.
something else, or I could. Oh, okay.
No.
Okay.
We are dealing with a government, a ludicrous government, who violates the CARICOM Treaty and bar a country like Jamaica, who was willing to fight the Guatemala to protect our independence from coming
Shoot
to
on
this
that.
country, and also the Haitians. We are policing these people to protect the American border, but the Americans are not protecting our border. All you hear, write a letter to the OAS, write a letter, tell the OAS. When we, a Commonwealth country, should be dealing with this within the Commonwealth, not within the OAS. Because then, if we are saying we're dealing with the UN and the OAS, have we given up our Commonwealth status?
Good question.
People, let me say this. We cannot do that, and anyone who is lying to you or misleading you with all this new identity thing, it cannot happen because we have a head of state represented by the Governor General, which is the Crown. So make no mistake. I go to you, Mr. Brackett.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, for opening up this particular subject tonight. Because for all intents and purposes, having been one of the people involved in the negotiation that brought us not an independent Belize in the Central American order as a republic, but brought us an independent Belize, just as you stipulated earlier, within the Commonwealth. I was there, I was involved, and therefore I don't need nobody to try and tell me otherwise or try to convince me otherwise. Mr. Price would not have gotten independence for Belize under his leadership, and Belize would have become independence under somebody else's leadership had Mr. Price not accepted the grand Fast-and bargain that was proposed to him. That is that Belize could not have had independence only with the PUP party as massive and as strong as they were leading the country. They had to acquiesce and cooperate and have the assistance of the opposition in order for the country to go into independence as a united country. And the Fast-and bargain was that if Mr. Price so wanted to have independence under his leadership, then he would have to negotiate those terms with us, which he was forced to do. He agreed to have the independence under his leadership, and we agree that in order for him to achieve that objective, we have to have that independence within the Commonwealth, always as a bulwark for our own self-defense, because we always knew what the motives of the Guatemalans were, to have us become an independent Papa nation adjacent to them that they can have their will with. As per the 13th proposal, the 17 proposals, the head of agreement, the adjacency zone confidence building measures, the special agreement, and all the others, the Ramphal proposals in 2000, and all the other subsequent agreements. Almost 24 of them, one of which Mr. Barrow also signed. The Placencia, I think it was 13 or 14, I don't recall specifically. So at every step of the way, Guatemala has always signed on the dotted line when preference was given to them and we were the subordinate entity. And they having commercial agreements with us that they make hundreds of millions of dollars from, draining our resources and our foreign exchange, while we get a few million from them. It has always been that way. And for we knucklehead idiots them where so-called pretend to be leaders, they fall for those kind of jinx, and they put our country in a worse situation than they found it when they got elected. Subsequently, each and every government from independence and even prior to independence have done the same shenanigans to Belize. All operating under the guise of following the orders and the edicts of foreign entities who suborn them and pressure them in different ways. I know see those foreign entities pressuring Guatemala and or anybody else to make Belize be able to exercise its independence freely and without any encumbrance. What do you think the Guatemalans are trying to do to us at the Sarstoon? Prohibiting us from transiting that area, haggling and messing around with our own soldiers when they have to go and change their duty stations, and ramming for we boat, and taking away our flags, occupying the island, and for we jackass ministers and tell me, oh, for all intents and purposes, we still control and own the island. I mean, just for them to repeat that kind of nonsense, it's galling. Because they should know better. And why do they have to lie to us and tell us all kind of crap like that when they know better and they know that we know better? We do not have control of the Sarsoon Island and or the Sarsoon part of the river that belongs to us. That's our boundary line. You saw on the clip that was played earlier, and many other clips that have been played before on the same tactics that they are using to intimidate Belizeans and the Belizean government, to the point that the Belizean government are now becoming their agents to terrorize and intimidate our own citizens. When they swore allegiance to our constitution, which says that no Belizeans, the government has no authority to stop any Belizean from going or transiting from north to south, east to west, and or going in or leaving the country of Belize. But they go and make what they call substantive laws under this false pretext that the laws that they make, because they are authorized to make laws, but they forget to tell the people, yes, we are authorized to make laws within the Constitution. They don't mention that. They want the people to get the impression that they could make just about any law violating the Constitution, and that law should prevail. Bunch of jackals. I yield back, Mr. Chairman. I yield back, Mr. Chairman. Greg?
Thank you, Mr. Brackett. Mr. Wade, I go back to you as the Farcom parade is passing. I will have nice interference in the background.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, I wonder why is it, guys, that this government, with input from the past government also, want to shiver ties from the crown, from England. I because that is exactly what they want to do, right? When they talk about new identity publicly, right? As for me, I don't want any other identity. That's for sure, right? But they talk about that. They what you call like some, what you call it, you somebody help you, and at the end you say you bite the hands that feed you. Bite the hands that fed you, Mr. PUP government and past government, right? So what, my people, what do you think will happen if we shiver completely ties from the British? What do you think will happen? You think your dollar will get stronger? You think things will be better with Belize in the outside market, the outside world? Because who has Belize on the map, on the outside world, international community? Not these hyenas and jackals, the British. They recognize us because of the British, the ties that we have with the British. That's why we are so recognized around the world. That's why Guatemala, I'm afraid for we. Okay, if you don't know that. So now, we could see now why they're not afraid for we. Because of the talk that these leaders are having publicly. The way they express themselves. Right? Like they don't need the British anymore. That's the impression, you know, they give the Guatemalan. So what you think the Guatemalan will do? That's why we have that aggression in the Sarsoon. That's why we have the ships and the patrol who we borders now, who we seize the Guatemalan ships, armies. Like I say, you soon see the fighter jet. And then protect we, because then just to wait for the ICJ. God forbid that this PUP government, with the help of the opposition, the little that we have, the couple of them that we have, that's why you see the actions, that want to take us into a republic. That's why you see the actions and okay about the ICJ. Okay. They have an agenda, and it's all about Mr. PUP want to be the first president of Belize. Because when they take you into a republic, you will be not prime minister, my people, and be president. And that's why you see the shine guy. He said, well, God forbid, just like the numbers and go haywire and think, and we win, the UDP win. I will be the next president. That fool. Okay? That's why he tell for him minions, none of you will contest me until after the word after the next general election. That's what he tells his minions in the UDP party.
And after that,
right?
after the next one, and after the next one, and after the next
right?
one, after the next one.
That's the mindset of that dude. Right? Why you think he know the pressure, Briseño, for the wrongs that he's doing and the direction Briseño want to take this country? No, because he's right. He follow the leader then, hoping that, so like when you fire a shot and you hit and miss, hoping that the voters of this country, when that day come, they will miss Briseño and catch him. Right? And then he will be the next president. Right? Man, something wrong with you. Right? So I just hope and pray that these hyenas and jackals and crooks do not get us there as a republic. I just hope and pray.
Mr. Wade, Mr. Wade,
Mr. Chairman.
You said a mouthful because they always do what?
Tell on themselves.
Isn't that what they had on the survey? Who all would like to move away from a DG and have a president? Isn't they telling you what their intention is?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. Right? Thank you. So are we not seeing the devils in these guys, Leonard and Greg? They are devils, evil. And this is the system, the two-party system that's been governing us for decades. Two-party system. You could see the love. You see any love in that? I just hope and pray that guys, you have a thing that they call karma, no? At some point, and I will not labor much on this point, but what I would like to see, that when this new entity, Belizean Justice Movement, take over, win an election, win governance in this country, hold all these people who had wronged us and wronged the country, hold them accountable. Hold them accountable for the evil that they do to our people and country. The disservice. Because it's all about disservice. So, my people, only you the people can save the people. And this time, this election, in this coming up, this day and age, we have seen the carnage. I just hope and pray that the people save the people, because this is the time now that we need to be saved before these hyenas and jackals get their way with us, because the worst is yet to come if we don't act now. Back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Wade. Again, based on what we were saying and based on what is happening with the PCC Act and where the government wants to lead us, like we say, we show and tell. So let's go to the video.
Hello everyone, I am Anuj Nakade and you're watching Live Law. Live Law is an online legal news portal that brings you news from courts all across the country. In order to stay updated, please subscribe to our channel. In today's video, we will be discussing what is widely considered one of the most important cases and precedents in the history of independent India. It is very definitely the longest case proceeding to ever happen in any case in the country. The case was heard by the Supreme Court for a total of 68 days and the judgment in it was delivered on 24th of April 1973. Exactly 50 years ago today on this date. The importance and impact of this judgment is so clear that the Chief Justice of India, D.Y. Chandrachud, announced a webpage dedicated to the judgment that would help researchers across the world to learn more about it. Hence, we at Live Law thought it would be good to bring you a detailed understanding of the case because it is a turning point in history that defines us today. Many of our regular viewers may know that when we usually report on a story, we are very specific about the number of judges pronouncing the judgment. The reason for this is twofold. The first is because the Supreme Court is a court of record, which means that every judgment of the Supreme Court that interprets the Constitution is the law of the land. Any case that is similar to that case or has the application of principles mentioned in the case will be similar in the future. Second, because the number of judges that are hearing the case will determine the strength of a judgment. For example, a judgment by a 5-judge bench will be binding on a 3-judge bench of the Supreme Court. The Keshavananda Bharti case is a judgment passed after a 13-judge bench heard it, the largest ever to be comprised in the Supreme Court of India. So what was the issue and why did it need to be heard by 13 judges for 68 days? The answer is a little bit of a history lesson. After independence, since our country had a feudal system, large parcels of land were owned by a few people. The Kerala Land Reforms Act of 1963 was a progressive legislation which restricted the area of land which one can own. Based on the Kerala Land Reforms Act, the government took over the land of such big land owners for the purposes of distribution to the landless people. In other words, the tillers of the land were made the owners of the land. One Edenir Mutt, at the time headed by Swami Keshavananda Bharti, owned one such large area of land and their land was to be taken away under the Land Reforms Act. So, Keshavananda Bharti, a priest and the head of the Edenir Mutt, challenged the constitutionality of the Kerala Land Reforms Act, saying the right to property is a fundamental right and the government cannot take away his property. He also challenged this decision of the government on the basis that the Land Reforms Act infringed on his fundamental right to equality, the right to life, and the right to manage religious affairs. But the issue was slightly more complicated than that. You see, the power to take away the land under these Land Reform Acts was protected by constitutional amendments. The 24th, the 25th, and the 29th constitutional amendment to be exact. In our constitution, Article 368 gives power to the parliament to amend the constitution. So for Swami Keshavananda Bharti to succeed in the court, he would have to challenge all three of these amendments to the constitution. Then the question arose, what can be the limitation or what is the extent that these power to amend the constitution can be exercised by the parliament? Can the constitution be amended completely by exercising this power by the parliament? Before going further, we should get to know these amendments. To start with, the 24th Amendment. Through this amendment to the Constitution, the Parliament gave itself the power to amend any part or any provision of the Constitution. The 25th Amendment Act allowed the Parliament to further curtail the right to property, which was a fundamental right at the time. And most importantly, in relation to the Keshavananda Bharati case, the Parliament introduced the 29th Amendment Act. This act put the Land Reforms Act in the 9th schedule. The effect of this was that the Supreme Court cannot review any laws in the 9th schedule, and so the Supreme Court would not have been able to review the Land Reforms Act either. We urge you to remember the context of the 9th schedule because this small detail will be important later in the video. Since Kerala Land Reforms Act touched upon the right to property which was taken away by the constitutional amendments, Swami Keshavananda Bharati also challenged the constitutional amendments which enabled the Kerala Land Reforms Act to take away the Edenir Mutt's land. The final question before the Supreme Court was whether the Parliament can amend the Constitution to take away the right to property, which was a fundamental right at that point of time. The Supreme Court, in an earlier case, which is popularly known as Golaknath versus State of Punjab, had stated that the fundamental rights of citizens cannot be taken away by way of constitutional amendments by the Parliament. The judgment was delivered by an 11-judge bench. This is why the Supreme Court now had to form a 13-judge bench to hear Keshavananda Bharati versus State of Kerala. More than 100 cases were read before the court during the course of these arguments, which went on for 68 days. Then, the Union government took a stand before the court that the Parliament had the complete and absolute power to amend the Constitution. The issue then became whether there can be a judicial review of Parliament's power to amend the Constitution absolutely. Finally, the court overruled the Golaknath case and held that Parliament has the power to amend even the fundamental rights in the Constitution and upheld the 24th Amendment. But there is a caveat here. What is the extent of power? Is the power unlimited? The court answered this question by saying that the Constitution has something called the basic structure. Basic structure is not defined in the Constitution, but is understood to be the essence of the Constitution. After Keshavananda Bharati, the Supreme Court identified many aspects of the Constitution which is known as the basic structure, such as democracy, the independence of judiciary, secularism, and the principles of equality, etc. That means tomorrow, even if a party has an absolute majority, which means the party with complete control of the Rajya Sabha and the Lok Sabha, cannot amend the basic structure of the democratic character of our country and make it a dictatorial government. That is the basic structure doctrine.
Gentlemen, the present government is trying to turn us into sovereign citizens because he cannot amend the Constitution and turn the country into a republic. You heard it, not from me, but from a law professor and scholar, Mr. Brackett.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, for elucidating that particular point because I've been advocating that basically for decades now, and not being a member called to the Bar Association of Belize, and not being accredited, accredited to function or operate within the legal community, within the legal capacity available. A lot of time when I point these things out, some of my colleagues, many of whom are lawyers, they look at me and they say, well, you're not a member of the bar. You have no right or legal basis to challenge these things and or to advocate a remedy to these issues. They fail to remember and to know that what is important in regards to these matters are the technical aspect of how cases are being put together, how they are being presented to a court, whether by a person defending himself, which the court must entertain, and or a person having a legal, trained, and accepted member of the bar committed to represent them by virtue of being paid for their services, because that's how they make their living. The bottom line is that some of them are very resentful of the fact that someone like myself will know these matters to the point of being able to argue with them and put them to shame for not knowing what they're supposed to know in the first place. I don't mind doing what I need to do in terms of advocating on behalf of my country and people, which is the reason why I take it upon myself to learn and know and understand these things and advocate them, because somebody has to do it. We have a lot of lawyers in cabinet today, and I've had a lot of lawyers in cabinet in the past. And even those that are not in cabinet, a lot of respected and very top-notch lawyers in our country, senior counsels, who know these matters. But they do advocate for it on behalf of the general public or the people, because nobody in the general public or the people pays them their fee that they would expect to earn. That's how they make their living. They don't consider being patriotic to defend the public's good, even when the public cannot pay them, or the government chooses not to pay them and not to have them advocate these things because it's contrary to bad governance practice, which is what's going on in our country. And then it puts the light on the government and shows their deficiency or their shortcoming, and the government don't like that. We have a few lawyers in Belize who once in a while do a little pro bono for some people, but we have no institution in the country such as Civil Liberties Union, what they have in the United States, and many other organizations, non-profit per se, who can help with these matters. Take the government to task, tie them up in court under judicial review. As a matter of fact, the government under the Barrow administration even went as far as trying to silence the court when it comes to these matters, to tell the court that they, the government, with the powers of lawmaking, was making a new law that forbids the court from performing its judicial review function under Section 20 of the Constitution of Belize. And while many of these learned colleagues would scoff at the government for trying to attempt to grab that kind of power, none of them jump in their feet and try to defend the public interest. I would like to say here and now today, it is my hope and part of my personal agenda that sometime in the not too distant future, we will come up with a comparable organization. We don't know where all the money is going to come from and all the legal minds who would be committed to such an endeavor, because you just cannot have people or law firms or people that you hire to do these jobs. You have to have legal minds who are committed with some sense of patriotism to take on these tasks and to make sure that the government stop running roughshod over the country just because they hold the governing powers and purse of the people. The average person can't go up and take out a lawsuit against the government to have these matters redressed, because the government have a deep pocket. And even when the government would be beaten at the first level, they can take the matter up to the second level of appeal. And if they lose there, they have a deep pocket from the public that they can take those matters, because when you say the government, you're talking about the people of Belize, not necessarily the caretakers of our governance system. So there are times when we conflate these things, we mix them up, and we say, oh, well, it's the government that we're suing. In a sort of way, yes. But in another sort of way, no. Because these people that are doing these things in the name of the government are not doing it on behalf of the government, which is to say the people of the country. And only under judicial review can any of these matters be taken up and have the court rule against the government to say that even the bastardized laws that the government make that contravenes the Constitution, which are violative of the Constitution, that they need to cease and desist. No, they don't need to cease and desist, because they have the powers of law making unto themselves. But like I said earlier, they forget to tell the public and make the public be aware of the fact that while they are entitled to make laws, those laws must be made within the bounds of the Constitution. And they themselves do not acknowledge that. They pretend that our Constitution doesn't even exist, and they operate as if they don't want to obey the commands and the laws of that we have in our Constitution. So they behave rogue. And when I and other people like myself, like you, Mr. Weir and Greg, point out to them that they're acting in a rogue manner and that they need to start out with good faith towards the people of Belize and country, they become offended, or they feel offended, or they pretend that they're offended because then they spit out there in the general public that we are maligning them, or that we are maligning even our very country, or that we are proposing to sue our very government. No. At some point in time, we are hoping that these people that sit in the governance structure of our country can be sued as individuals in regards to some of these bastardized practices that they do. And that some of them have to come up with money from out of their pocket to settle these things rather than just go to the treasury and settle with Ashcroft for hundreds of millions of dollars, or settle with a Feinstein for another hundreds or $1 million, or settle with whomever or whoever. The bottom line is that the government have to stop taking chance of our people and the raise taxes to go squander and not giving us a service. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Brackett.
You're welcome, sir.
But we must again face the fact that Section 69(9) of the Constitution is null and void and should be removed.
That's
the
what
present
Judge Conte told me.
government is using it as we speak to try and block individuals
Mr. Chairman,
from seeking judicial review.
And Judge Benjamin told him just as much in that case when they went for the hearing at the on the ICJ. That's why the government lost that hearing as well. And they keep losing all these different cases because they feel like anytime you as a government have power or superpower or super legislative power, that they can just make any law even to contravene the Constitution. That is intolerable and unacceptable. Laws must be made that are constitutionally valid and upheld. When they are made outside of the bounds of the Constitution, they are to be ruled as null and void, as stipulated by the Constitution itself.
Well,
under
you
Section
see,
2 of the Constitution.
You see, even within the speaking of the People's Constitution, you had Mr. Usher, when stating about the Constitution was amended twice, is in denial because he's trying to say that his 69(9) is alive and living well. And one can only listen to them and know what their agenda. You know, so again, to make
and the fact is
people at
that he's
home and
being
abroad
used to teach that he's been used as one of the teachers on the constitutional reform process, as well as he's a teacher at one of the Corozal Community College, as well as one of the other institutions. Why are they entertaining individuals of that nature and attitude that does not abide by the constitutional requirements to go out there and offend the Constitution by teaching stuff that the Constitution does not comport with, that is a part of their personal agenda, such as the Unibom case. If in the Unibom case, their rights to have been found under the free preamble of the Constitution, as well as other stated defense of our rights and our anyhow, the bottom line is that the same Constitution allows for us to have our rights prevail in court just as well. Of course, the Unibom had money from abroad that was financing their legal support. I would like to ask, where is the money from abroad and or from home that is supporting us getting our constitutional rights respected and vindicated? Are you back, Chairman?
Thank you, Mr. Brackett. Mr. Weir, I go to you now for your intake and for the closing.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Leonard. It's always a pleasure, like I said, to sit in your company because we speak on real issues, Mr. Chairman, and we always show and tell. It's not like, we talking out of haul out something out of our back pocket and just talk about it. No, we talk about real things, real issues, and real what is happening in this country, right? So I just hope that our programs be beneficiary to the layman out there, to the Belizean people, you know, because we are about people. We're about people, a nation. We don't like when wrong things are done to our people, when we know that it's wrong. So we call it and we say it's wrong because we are not afraid to say that it's wrong. And we have always offered solutions, right? We have always voiced our opinion, always. And why we do that? Because we have that God-given right.
First and foremost.
We have that God-given right and we exercise our rights. We here on this program, we always exercise our rights and not afraid to speak up, right? Speak the way we feel and the way we see things. And we speak, and we always say that better can be done. Enough of this, taking advantage, every time, my people, you have been taken advantage of, right? But like, just lazy for lift up and speak out, right? And this two-party system continue to do unto us and do unto us and do unto us. We see it happen all the time. We see the length and breadth they go through to do to us so that they could get what they want. And when they get what they want, to hell with us until the next cycle again. Aren't we tired of that? My people, who profit? Who are the ones that are profiting now in this booming economy that your prime minister talk about, man? Huh? The economy is booming. The people, not in poverty anymore, and jobs up to yang, right? And everything is bright and beautiful.
Mr. Weir, the economy is booming at the price of $25 for bill pepper.
Wow. What is wrong? What is wrong with this picture, man? And yet, we go to sleep vexed with ourselves. We grind with teeth. But yet, most of us don't have the fortitude to come out and tell these people, right? We do it here on this program every night. I mean, 3 times a week. We call them out. And thanks to the Almighty that most of the things that we talk about, they listen to us, Leonard and Gregory. They listen to us, right? Because they know that we are a force to be reckoned with. You know that they know that they cannot haul and pull us the way they want to haul and pull us. Because we will keep coming back vocal, not afraid. So I'm glad that most of the things.
We speak from the Constitution, which they try to deny. And that's where
exactly.
they have the most of their problem. They cannot come at us legally. They don't have the moral fortitude or strength of character. They are devious. They have no faith in the people to allow the people to learn and know what they need to learn and know in order for them to develop better governance. They're always trying to hoodwink the people. And all I say is more power to the people, and that's the reason for our existence.
So may the Almighty,
no respect of persons.
May the Almighty continue to give us here on this program the voice. Continue to give us and show us the way. Show us the way how to save our people. Show us. I hope and pray that He continue to show us how to do it. And my people, like I say, is things better off with you right now? Is it true what your leaders are telling you, that everything is okay? Right? That's all I'm asking you. Is it true? Are you living better? Is your life better at the supermarket? At the gas pump? Is it better for you, the people? The ones that will not carry a fuel order book?
Every week the
Right?
prices change.
Or who cannot go to the Chinese groceries and demand, because a lot of the politician goes to the groceries and demand, right? Because they are power, right? And they get everything for free, right? Everything you could think about, they get it for free, all in the name of power and on the backs of the taxpayers of this country. So my people, only, I'm going to leave you with this, only you, the people, can save the people from this carnage of this two-party system, right? And there is an alternative out there. I'm going to say it again. There's a new horizon, a new team, a new system, Belizean justice movement, where we are about change, not talk change. We will not take you to Belize to become a republic. We say no to that. We will serve all people. We'll do right by people. All people will get the justice that they deserve, the justice that is not been given to you right now as I speak, right? Because in this country, the poor and the less fortunate have no justice at all. None whatsoever, right? Because we, the poor people, cannot afford it. So, on the next election, only the people could save the people with this new movement. Support them. You will have a name in every constituency. A new name, a new color, not red nor blue. Watermelon. The color watermelon, that will be your savior. So I hope that, please listen, do the right thing if you want that change. And thank you, Mr. Chairman, thank you, Leonard, for giving me that opportunity to say what I got to say.
Great program.
It's always a pleasure to sit here with you guys, because we educate and we are about people. We are more about power. We are not about fame. We don't want no pat on the back. We just call it as it is. Call a spade a spade. Why? We are people and we are taxpayers and we are voters. Back to you, Mr. Chairman.
They are being paid to do people's business. Stop collect the salaries if they don't want to do the job.
There you go.
Otherwise,
Thank you, Mr. Brackett.
For obtaining
with that said,
money
I would like to say good night to the people at home and abroad.
Good night, Mr. Chairman.
And
Great
thank
program.
you for tuning in to this 292nd edition of Belizean Affair. Good
Wish
night,
we had more time.
everyone, and all.